How would you like to 10x your income in the next 6 months? Pretty sweet, right? How awesome would it be for you to get to a place where you could just manifest money and find yourself in a place of complete financial abundance? I hear it all the time. People are constantly looking for that big secret of how those other people are becoming successful, specifically in the online space. And today I want to break this down for you in 3 simple steps in how I personally was able to get to that next level of financial abundance. And I'm going to walk you guys through exactly what that takes. So if you don't know who I am, my name is Jen Casey. I'm a business strategy coach, and I help online entrepreneurs, specifically those in the wellness field, go from social media to sales and take their brand and turn it into a thriving business. So today is all about, ready for it? The power of investing and surrounding yourself with the right people. So this first piece, how do we get to those really lucrative months in your business? And I think the first part of this really comes down to you have to realize that you are your business. So your business will only grow as far as you do, right? The more valuable that you become, the more valuable everything that you do becomes. So the power of investing in yourself and adding to your knowledge, adding to the things that you are an expert in, that is huge, absolutely huge. Hi guys, I see a bunch of people jumping on right now. So I want you guys to understand that when you start to invest money, I know a lot of people are like, ooh, money, I don't have enough, and there's all these money blocks, right? But when you decide whether or not you think you have it or you just find it, right? When you decide, and it's a decision, to invest a certain amount of money that feels uncomfortable for you in that moment into yourself and into your business, there is a shift that happens. And I don't know if any of you have felt that, but I have watched it happen in my own life and in the lives of so many of the people who I work with intimately and all of my very successful entrepreneurial friends. There is a shift that happens, and it's this. When you decide to invest in yourself, what happens? You play up. You become better. If you take an actor who's a mediocre performer around a bunch of other mediocre performers and you throw them on a Broadway stage, you better believe they are either going to crash and burn or they're going to freaking bring their A game. And for the most part, we bring our A game. And if we don't, we really learn from it, right? So we have to really realize that when we decide to invest in ourselves, we are essentially, we're not waiting around for permission. We're not waiting around for somebody else to walk along and tell us, you've made it. You're good enough now. You can do this. We are taking the power back and we are investing in us, saying, I bet on me, which is huge. When you decide to bet on you, you've got all the power. You have unlimitless potential. When you do that, you increase your confidence and you say to the rest of the world, I'm serious about this. There's a whole shift in the amount of respect and the amount of seriousness around what you do that other people will treat you differently when you start looking at your business and looking at yourself in a different way. And that happens when it could be investing in yourself and making that scary jump into a high-end business coach, into a mastermind, whatever that may be. But it really takes that shift, whatever is scary for you, to get that value to yourself. That is so important. So that's number 1. The more valuable you become, the more abundant you're going to become. That completely directly translates into dollar bills, right? So that's how you 10x it. Number 2 is you want to start surrounding yourself with smarter people who are smarter than you. When we are the smart kid in class, like, sure, that's cool, that's fun, that'll like stroke your ego, right? But if you're the best one in the room, if you're the best one on your team, you've got to get around some people who are at that higher level thinking. I know for myself, when I was performing as an actor, I had a lot of experience in a multitude of things in musical theater, but I didn't have a lot of experience in Shakespeare. And I got cast in this troupe over a couple summers ago, and I was absolutely terrified. I was like, just make me the tree in the back because I don't know what I'm doing. And this was a high-end theater, right? And everybody in that cast was unbelievable. But what was insane for me was I completely sucked, And then all of a sudden I didn't suck, and I really started to hustle my little booty off, and I had exponential growth that summer. More growth than I had at any other time in my entire life. There was immersion, and I was around people who were so much better than me that I was forced to play up to keep up with them. I had to work harder. I had to really, really dive into what each line meant, and I had to change my mental game and decide if I was going to feel bad about myself that I wasn't as good as everybody else, or if I was going to work my little hiney off and make sure that I didn't bring down the quality of the show. So I was forced to make that decision. And I was also getting to learn so much by being around so many other talented, intelligent, intuitive people. If you're not surrounding yourself with people who are at that next level, or you're not hiring a coach who's 10 steps ahead of you, or you're not getting to be part of a mastermind of people who already have some of these systems in place who you can learn from, and then you're sitting there, maybe you had this thought, you were like, oh, that'd be cool. Maybe you had this thought a year ago, and you're still in the same place this year. Why are you still in the same place? Because you keep doing the same thing. You want a different result, you got to do something differently. So what is the decision that you're going to make in terms of that? Who are you going to decide to surround yourself with? Who do you need to cut out of your life? There are so many people in my life who I absolutely love, who are just fantastic, fantastic friends, but I can't have business conversations with them because they can't understand my desire to have a certain financial level, to have a certain situation in terms of what I want my business to look like. It's too big for them. And that's okay. Different things for different people. Nobody needs to have this specific vision that I have. That's cool, right? But you have to just decide who are the people you're going to surround yourself with. If I go up to my certain friends and say, yeah, my goal for next month is to make a $50K month, they're like, what? That's absurd. I can't even fathom that. I can't wrap my mind around that. How could you even want that? And those are not conversations I'm going to have with those people. But there are other entrepreneurial friends of mine who were like, oh yeah, you could do that within the next 2 months. Different people, different mindset. Get around people who are smarter than you, who are at a different level, who are at a place where you want to be, or at least who are working towards that, who have that same heart and that same hustle that you do. Because if you're not doing that, as they say, you're the sum of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. So really take a look at the people who you're keeping in your network and start to reflect on what that looks like. Because the deal is, if you take a look at their relationships, their success, their financial abundance, their happiness levels, all of that stuff, like I said, it's the sum. So if all your friends are getting drunk and they're single and they're broke, right? What's your life? I doubt you're making 6 figures and you're around those people. Gotta find friends who are where you want to be, right? And the third piece of this is when you want to get to that next level, right? The whole point of this whole title of this video is how to 10x your income. You've got to get your mind around the idea of taking inspired action when you feel that in your gut. My goodness, I have had an insane journey of, touch and go of entrepreneurship, right? And I'm at this level now because I made those scary choices. If I had not taken that leap, I would still be working in a restaurant. If I had not taken that leap, 3-4 years ago, I would still be broke as a joke, twiddling my thumbs, going, man, I wish I could adjust. And I don't want that for any of you guys, because when I was in that place, I didn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. And there is a light if you're willing to take that leap. You have to do it. And the thing with inspired action as well is there's so many people, or like they say, fortune favors the brave, right? So how brave do you have to be? Let that be your mantra. Let that be the thing that guides you through each day. Each morning, you're like, today I'm making the decision to be brave. And when we sit with this is huge. So ready? When we sit with anything for too long, when we feel that tingling, when something is so uncomfortable for us, but we know intuitively, now I don't know how spiritual you guys are, but intuitively on a very deep level, your source energy is in alignment with something. When you have a thought that's so big and it feels so good, but then you're like, oh shit, but I'm also really scared. That sense, that feeling of tingliness, that stirring in your gut, that is your sign that is your purpose. That is the direction that you need to go. Your body, your emotional guidance system is literally there. Your emotions are there to tell you when things feel good. And our whole purpose, our whole point of being on this planet, of being in these bodies, is for things to feel good. So pay attention to that. It's so important to pay attention to your emotional guidance scale. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you need to go check out Abraham Hicks. Go Google search emotional guidance scale, and you'll kind of see what I'm talking about. Check out some of those videos. They'll give you the full down low on that. But seriously, guys, that's so important. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with this whole concept of burning your ship at the shore, right? It was a conquest from the Aztec Empire where this one leader was like, we're going to go conquer them. So to make sure that we don't have an option for retreat, no plan B here, we're going to burn our ships. And he burnt their ships so they couldn't go home. They had no choice but to fight for what they wanted. And you need to get to that place where you invest, where you get into that mindset where there is no plan B. It's this or you die trying. Will Smith has some quote where he's like, you might be better than me, I might not be the fastest, I might not be the smartest, I might not be the most talented, but if you put the two of us next to each other on a treadmill, either you're getting off before me or I'm gonna die while I'm on there because I don't give up, right? That is the place that we need to get into with entrepreneurship because, there's some people who are like, oh, I want to be an entrepreneur. This seems fun. Work from home, 4-hour work week, yada, yada, yada. Dude, this shit is hard. You have to hustle. You have to make your own schedule. You have to be on top of your stuff. It's not easy. It's not a walk in the park. It's amazing. It's brilliant. I love it. I wouldn't want my life any other way. I live for it. I'm a junkie. I love working. I love learning. I love growing. I'm addicted to it. But if you don't have that level of obsession with this vision that you have, it's kind of hard to have that sustainability, right? So how do you get yourself to that next level of mindset? I really think it comes down to not sitting around and flip-flopping. When we sit and we wait on making decisions, we start to doubt ourselves. We start to let fear creep in. We maybe ask some other people who are not our people, not our mindset people, and they go, well, being an entrepreneur is hard. I used to not tell people when I worked in the restaurant and I was still pursuing acting, I specifically would not tell potential or customers. I wouldn't say, they're like, oh, what do you do outside of, waiting tables, bartending? I would never say I'm an actor because the literally knee-jerk response, people are like, oh, well, it's hard. I'm like, thank you, don't need your input. So I wouldn't tell people. So I need you to realize that you need to surround yourself with people who are going to, when you say, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm an online health and fitness coach, I'm a business coach, I'm a life coach, that they go, that's amazing. That's like the coolest thing. I've always wanted to do that. Or you know what? Let's mindset work together, whatever it may be. Here's a great example with getting talked out of things, right? You can literally talk yourself out of anything, right? And if it's something that you feel is intuitively aligned for you, and then you don't do it, your confidence goes down, your belief in yourself goes down, and you actually dishonor yourself because you say, I don't actually believe I could do it. I'm going to go back to my miserable job and I'll wait until I make some more money here at this job where I could barely pay my bills. And it's like, you have got to get out of that mindset. You've got to start taking inspired action. Where there's a will, there's a way, right? Like I said, fortune favors the brave. Think about a cheeseburger, right? That might be your favorite food in the world. Okay, just go with me on this. You might look at a cheeseburger and go, oh my gosh, my mouth is watering. It is so delicious. I love cheeseburgers. I could eat them for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But I guarantee you, if you sat and looked at a cheeseburger, diner cheeseburger, favorite thing ever. If you sat and looked at it for long enough, you could talk yourself out of eating it. What are some examples? What do I mean? Well, if I really think about where the meat came from long enough, and I'm like, oh man, that's some beef, so it's not just a patty, that came from an animal, and that was a live cow, and maybe it got tortured, and oh god, was it clean? Did people wash their hands before they slaughtered this thing? And god, did the guy in the back wipe his nose before he freaking cooked this for me? And how greasy is this? And oh man, the cheese, all the horrible things they do. I can literally be like, oh god, I don't want to eat that now. Now that I'm thinking about all these things, I don't want to eat this. Same thing with pretty much anything in life. You can talk yourself into or out of anything, but it's usually the talking out of things, right? So if you are thinking about making a big investment in yourself and in your business and, all that stuff, right? If you feel that moment of inspired action, do it. Don't wait. Don't flip-flop. Don't ask your friends unless they're mindset friends who are going to encourage you to do it and you just needed a little boost. You know, a lot of ladies are like, I'm going to go ask my husband, but he doesn't really believe in entrepreneurship. I'm like, why are you asking your husband? You know, I mean, okay, if you guys have joint accounts, sometimes you got to do that, but you need to seriously, I know I keep saying it, but I just really want to drive this point home. I'll just recap it. You guys can go watch the playback of this, right? But we've got to start investing in ourselves to become more valuable. We have to get around people who are like-minded, who are smarter than us, who have that same vision. And we have to take that inspired action. And I should say, in addition to taking inspired action, we have to implement. If we don't actually, we can be like, off to the races. Now what? Now I'm scared. Now what do I do? You have to find a way. Read some books, personal development, go get your booty in therapy, work through your stuff. And we have to get to that place where we're able to handle things, handle stress, handle the ability to hear no. The roller coaster of being an entrepreneur is not an easy one. So how do we manage that? You got to take care of that. You got to take care of your mindset when it comes to those things and realize that if we're not implementing, it's almost like, my aunt, I always used to tease her because she'd go to Weight Watchers. She'd sign up as a member and she'd be like, doing it this time, signed up as a member. And then the next week she's like, it's weird, I didn't lose any weight. And I'm like, all right, next week still didn't lose, lost a pound. And it's like, just because you sign up as a member and you make that decision, doesn't mean you're going to lose weight. You gotta invest in those habits. You gotta do this stuff every day. You gotta make different choices. So I'll leave you with this. What changes are you willing to make in order to get yourself to that next level? What is your level of urgency? Because entrepreneurs are the people who wanted it yesterday, who have that desire for greatness and are unrelenting and unwilling to stop. So check yourself, and if you're not at that state of urgency, all it really comes down to is kind of what I was talking before. I didn't really mention it this way, but this whole pain-pleasure principle. It's either you're moving towards pleasure or away from pain. So if something is feeling uncomfortable for you, get to a place where it's too uncomfortable to stay where you are, and you got to get your butt to the pleasure on the other side, even though that might seem a little bit uncomfortable, because it's the unknown, the spooky. What if I fail? What happens? What if people reject me? What if my tribe throws me out, right? All these fears that we have. Forget those fears. You live one life. One life you have. So make the decision today. Find that sense of urgency for yourself. Go journal a little bit. Figure out what it's going to take for you and why you want it so badly. Figure that out. What happens? What happens for you a year from now if you don't make a change? What happens? Are you in the same place? I don't know. That's up to you. So I want to leave you with that and really start to think about, what do you need to do in order to get yourself to that next level? What are you willing to sacrifice? What are you willing to change? So thank you guys so much for jumping on. If you are a health and wellness entrepreneur, head on over to the Facebook group that Angie and I, my business partner and I, we run. It is called Health Coaches Go From Social Media to Sales. So head on over there, jump inside. We share a lot of great free tips and video trainings every week. So we would love to have you there. Thank you guys so much. And if this was really valuable for you, please feel free to hit the share button. Give that gift to somebody today who just needs that little kick in the butt, who needs to hear this message. So feel free to do that. And thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.